The learning outcome of this video is for you to be able to comprehend the requirements under the Women's Charter to contract a valid marriage. Marriage in Singapore is governed by the Women's Charter, Chapter 353, 2009 Revision Edition. Therefore, all discussions hereinafter will refer to the Women's Charter. Furthermore, there are two types of marriages in Singapore, Muslim marriages and non-Muslim marriages. We will focus on non-Muslim marriage in this course. So what is marriage? In its basic definition, a civil marriage is said to be a union of two people, where one or both parties are non-Muslim, after obtaining the proper license from the Registry of Marriage and taking part in a solemnization ceremony. We use the term civil marriage, because a marriage needs to be registered, and this involves the filing and verifying of legal documents pertaining to a marriage, in preparation for solemnization. Solemnization is the act of one's official wedding ceremony to effect a marriage. For a civil marriage to be recognized as valid in Singapore, it is required that the marriage must be solemnized, first, by the Registrar of Marriages or a person who has been granted a license to solemnize marriages. Second, it must also be solemnized on the authority of either a valid marriage license issued by the registrar or a valid special marriage license granted by the minister. Third, it must be in the presence of at least two credible witnesses, who may be friends or family above the age of 21. And fourth, the marriage can be solemnized only when the individual solemnizing is convinced that both parties freely consent to the marriage. The Women's Charter further stipulates that the parties have not yet committed to a subsisting marriage with someone else. Also, the couple must have reached a minimum age of 18 years old. However, parents' consent is required for a person below 21 years old where that person intends to marry. Next, the parties are not within the prohibited degrees of relationship with one another. In law, a prohibited degree of kinship refers to a degree of consanguinity or relationship of blood ties and sometimes affinity or relation by marriage between one's relatives. Furthermore, the couple must be heterosexual and lastly, since it is a civil marriage, one or both parties must not be Muslim. In the English common law tradition, from which our legal doctrines and concepts have developed, marriage was a contract based upon a voluntary private agreement by a man and a woman to become husband and wife. Marriage was viewed as the basis of the family unit and vital to the preservation of morals and civilization. Traditionally, the husband had a duty to provide a safe house, pay for necessities such as food and clothing, and live in the home. The wife's obligations were maintaining a home, living in the home, engaging in marital relations with her husband, and looking after the couple's children. Today, the underlying concept that marriage is a legal contract still remains, but with some modifications as will be seen later. Such contracts are not so easily invalidated on claims by plaintiffs in cases where they seek to invalidate a marriage. To recap, these are the requirements of a valid civil marriage in Singapore. And these are the further stipulations from the original requirements. This is the end of this video, see you in the next one.